Hello everyone, Sean Galloway here. Welcome to 2012. Almost 2 years ago, I was standing right here and I did a video, and the topic of the video was what was your safety focus going to be in 2010? What were you going to focus on? How are you going to transfer that? I'd like to change it up a little bit, and I'd like for you to start thinking selfishly about yourself. What are you going to do to really promote and develop yourself and thus your career? The reality is, if you're not continuously enhancing yourself, if you're not looking for new ways that you can add value, you might not have a career left, and you might not have that opportunity then to truly influence others in safety or whatever area that you're focusing on in your chosen profession. So I have a couple of questions and things I'd like for you to think about for this year. And I hope that these questions are timeless. I hope that you'll continue to review these questions as the year progresses to see if you're truly making a difference and trying to understand how you're monitoring your progress towards this. Because if you don't understand how you're doing, it's hard to determine if you're going in the right direction. So what are you going to do to add value? What books are you going to read over the next couple of days? What books are you going to read over the next year? Personally, I spend a lot of time on airplanes. I spend a lot of time traveling, so usually I read between 60 and 80 books a year. Now, that's a bit ambitious. I realize that. But the thing is that I'm continuously looking for new ways and new ideas that I can help the people that I work with. So what seminars are you going to participate in? There are dozens and dozens of seminars on almost any major topic that's out there. Which ones are you going to participate in? And better yet, which ones are you going to lead over the next year? What groups are you going to join? There's a lot of networking opportunities. There's a lot of great ideas that are out there. So how are you going to take advantage of the availability of ideas that's so prevalent out there more than ever before? There are so many different ways that you can gather new content, that you can look for new things that you can learn. How are you going to do that? How are you going to, over the next year, demonstrate value? Because if we're not focusing on value and we don't focus on the performance to get us the results that we want, how are we going to know if we got there? Sometimes if we just focus on the results, if we just focus on what the end in mind looks like, that's great. We all are going to be held accountable for the results. But if we don't pay attention to the performance that's necessary to get us to that result, how are we going to duplicate it when we get there if we don't know what precisely we were doing to get there? So focus on value contribution. Focus on what value you're providing that's different, that wasn't there the previous day. Start thinking about your legacy. At the end of the day, respectfully, when you leave your organization, most people aren't going to remember the date you started or the date that you retired. They're going to remember that dash that's in between. Several people have talked about that. How are you going to be remembered by that dash? What do you want people to remember regarding the legacy that you leave behind? And then what do you need to do to make that legacy happen? How are you going to start monitoring your progress towards that? Look, how are you going to make 2012 the most value-contributing year that you've ever experienced? My father used to tell me when I was a kid that nobody will ever owe you a job. You have to demonstrate and show new value every single day. What are you going to do to make 2012 the best year ever? If you start focusing on value contribution, people start to recognize the value that you have provided them. You may be able to hear some of the fireworks going on in the background here. It's New Year's Eve. And I can't wait to hear more about how you made 2012 the best year ever. I wish you a fantastic year. But realize if you could focus on developing yourself, you're going to be that much more capable on helping others develop. I wish you a great year. Keep in touch.